So much like Metroid, Donkey Kong is a franchise that I feel like Nintendo just sometimes forgets that they have. You know, with Metroid, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, we do have Metroid. Let's make Metroid Dread and Metroid Prime Remastered. And you get all this Metroid love, and then there's years of silence. Same thing with kind of Donkey Kong. You know, you got Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, and it looked like Donkey Kong was picking up steam again, and the Wii U fell off a cliff. But then we got the game on the Switch, and it's like, well, the new Donkey Kong has to be coming, right? I don't know. I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber. The only thing I do know is that you should subscribe to the channel. If you are new here, though, we're on the road to 500,000 subscribers. But once again, Donkey Kong has once again been in the news the past couple of days, and I got this feeling over myself, a bit of a deja vu, not Lord Tariq and Peter Guns' classic song from the late 90s. No, no, no. I'm talking about actual deja vu, as in, I've heard this talk before, but why has it been brought up once again, and what are they saying in this new information? I want to talk about it. Now, I'm not saying that my opinion is necessarily right. At the end of the day, opinions are like buttholes. Everyone has one. Some stink more than others. I am just saying this is how I am viewing the situation. And I feel like maybe some communication got mixed up as far as giving this information out there. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about this mysterious Donkey Kong game that, like I said, I had deja vu from this, and rightfully so. This is from 2021. Rumor, the next Donkey Kong game is being developed by the Super Mario Odyssey team. Now, I specifically remember talking about this during its heyday when all this information was getting out there. The Donkey Kong fan site DK Vine said development of the new Donkey Kong game reportedly began around 2017 or 2018 when Nintendo decided to bring Donkey Kong back internally for the first time since Nintendo's EAD's Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, although Jungle Beat was more of a stopgap than a permanent status quo. So basically they're talking about different things with this. There's no info if it's going to be 2D or 2.5D or 3D. What kind of game is it? Is it a country game? There was that whole thing where it was like, you know, it's not going to be a country game or something like that. It's going to be a new style of Donkey Kong. I specifically remember talking about that. Lonely Goomba said he heard an unlikely rumor that the Mario Odyssey team are working on a 3D Donkey Kong game. Zippo, who, I mean, Zippo never gets anything right, but Zippo's in here. Leaker Zippo, I guess. I don't understand these. A lot of leakers are like weathermen. I don't understand how they stay in business because they're always wrong. If it's the Big Apes 40th anniversary, Nintendo didn't do anything. This is a 2D game being done by EPD Tokyo. Retro is busy with other things. Okay, so here's the country moniker. Okay, so it's not going to be a country game or something like that. It's launching by the end of the year, 2021. Yeah, that never happened. So there's a lot of different things to take away from this, but what I'm getting at is this information kind of first came out onto the scene back in 2021 when a lot of people were saying this sort of stuff, and a lot of people had heard things from their sources or heard things directly, potentially, whatever the case may be. And like I said, we talked about it back then. I thought it would be cool because, you know, Donkey Kong is cool. I mean, everyone likes Donkey Kong. I think everyone likes Donkey Kong. You know, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, whether you're talking about the Switch version, which added Funky Kong and $10 additional to the price tag, or the original Wii U version. Great games, but that's a game from 2014. It's been almost 10 years since we've gotten a new Donkey Kong game, and it feels like it's about time. Well, this is where the new information is coming to us from. So 2023, 2 years later, we now have an update on this situation, and here's where things get kind of interesting. So we will be using Exputer's write-up from this from, like I said, a couple of days ago. I'm a little late to this, but I wanted to let it simmer, and I wanted to actually look some stuff up to make sure I was saying the actual right things. Rumor! 3D open world Donkey Kong game is in development for Nintendo Switch 2. According to Nintendo Prime, the game is absolutely still in the works for the new Switch. So Nintendo Prime, a fellow YouTuber, we've talked about him before on the channel. A 3D open world Donkey Kong game is in development for the next Switch, a new rumor has revealed. Donkey Kong Freedom is supposedly the name of this title, and after being in development since 2017, it will be a launch title for the new Switch. Shigeru Miyamoto has been a major influence on the project and wants Donkey Kong to be an A-tier franchise. So there's a lot right there. It's kind of portion of the summary. I think the last thing is possibly the most telling thing, which makes me believe that this isn't real. Shigeru Miyamoto being an influence on the project. Shigeru Miyamoto doesn't really do anything with games anymore. You know, he's doing the movie thing, the Mario movie. Now, of course, Mario the Super Mario movie does include Donkey Kong in it, but still, like, he's focused on the movie stuff. Like, the movie's not even out yet. Like, obviously it could be done and stuff like that, but, you know, finishing the film is one thing. You have to go promote the film, and you have to talk about the film and do the PR circuit. So I found that to be very interesting, but let's go ahead and read this article here. I zoomed in for you. A new rumor that revealed that a Donkey Kong game is in development for the Nintendo Switch successor. Donkey Kong is supposed in 3D and been in the works for years. Vicarious Visions, an Activision studio responsible for co-developing the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, was developing the title. Besides being 3D, the Donkey Kong game would be open world. Nintendo Prime reported this rumor in an episode of their podcast and revealed how the project didn't last at Vicarious Visions due to issues resulting from another game being in development at the studio. Donkey Kong moved to Nintendo EPD of Tokyo. Nintendo gave this project to the younger members of Super Mario Odyssey's development team. So that's all stuff that we've kind of heard before, but why is this being brought up now? Well, here's the reason why. According to this rumor, Nintendo titled this project Donkey Kong Freedom unofficially. Miyamoto was heavily involved in its development and contributed ideas. Also, originally, Donkey Kong slid on vines barefoot, but Miyamoto wasn't a fan of this concept. So then they talked about how they put bananas on Donkey Kong's feet, and then Nintendo Prime revealed that it's absolutely still in the works, and then Prime also saw 40 seconds of this footage, and you know, this is all kind of weird, because what you're essentially saying is, if you saw the Vicarious Visions footage, like, how did you get that? It would have had to have been through an employee there, or it would have had to have been through an employee at Nintendo EAD. But Donkey Kong Freedom, we're giving this game a name, and that's where things get very weird, because Donkey Kong Freedom is the name of a project that was done in Dreams, which was a game that released on the PS4. You remember Dreams? People were making different sorts of IPs of games in there. I tried to cover some of them that I found interesting. Nobody ever watched the videos though, but here is a 1-minute trailer of a Donkey Kong Freedom, an open world 3D platformer with Donkey Kong in it. So I'm not saying that this is the footage that Nintendo Prime saw. It might not have been, but I feel like this might have been the footage, because if I'm looking at this game, look, he's got the bananas on his feet to go along the vines. If I'm looking at this based on footage that I've seen throughout the years, this looks like very early footage of a game that could be potentially from 2017, or could have been when Nintendo took over the project or something like that. But if this is the footage that we're basing it on, this footage isn't real footage. Like, it's not footage of a game being developed by Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch 2 or any Nintendo platform, because this is a fan game done with Dreams. So in my opinion, and I'm not saying my opinion is right, I'm not saying that is, you know, the be all end all with this, I think some miscommunication happened with this. I think there was a game potentially being done by Vicarious Visions for Donkey Kong, because I mean, you can't really prove this, that, or the other. Maybe they were working on it. Obviously, Nintendo has done stuff with like Ubisoft in the past, with stuff like Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Maybe Nintendo wanted another company to do something like this. We saw it with Metroid Prime 4, where they gave it to Bandai Namco, and then they're like, no, let's give it a Retro. So you kind of have to wonder, like, why they would be outsourcing this stuff to especially studios that they don't work very closely in. But I don't think that game that happened back in 2017 is necessarily indicative of anything happening today. Like, I don't feel like Shigeru Miyamoto was hands-on with a project, actually developing a video game, which is something that he doesn't really do anymore. Like, maybe as like an overseer or something like that, but he's been so tied up with this movie for the past few years. Like, that's what Miyamoto has been doing. Maybe this footage got out there, and without any sort of context, when you first looked at it, you know, it doesn't have the Dreams logo on it. So it's easy, you know, like I said, if I am looking at this footage with absolutely no context, sure, pre-alpha build of a Donkey Kong game, I mean, that's a Donkey Kong character to me. That's Diddy Kong. It's an open world. There's bananas on your feet, and there's vines and stuff like that. It looks like a somewhat interesting world, and it definitely looks like a tech demo, but that's really all this is. And this is just my opinion. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying anyone is necessarily wrong. I just think that there was possibly some miscommunication here, and this is not what it's going to be. But there is the chance that Nintendo Prime could be 100% spot on with this, and you know, I'll have to eat my words and be like, oh, okay, he was right on it. I'm surprised by this, but just based on things that I've heard that I can't really, you know, tie to certain people, and based on my own sort of research with this, I feel like it was just a bit of a miscommunication. But maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe that is not the case. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section down below. Is this a case of, you know, websites just looking for anything Nintendo related and running with it? Do you think maybe there was a misspeaking of it and that wasn't actually what Prime was trying to say, or this, that, the other, taken out of context or something like that? Or do you think that this project is an actual thing and we will be seeing something from it potentially in 2023 or 2024, depending on what system it comes out on? Let me know everything what you think in the comments section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, hit the bell notification as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.